Hello my fellow starved vault hunters, and welcome back to a new video. I know it's been weeks, but daddy is home with the milk, and it's time to milk the success of my beloved Vinylic Puma, and take up the mantle in his honor after Wonderlands sent him back on his hiatus. Today we'll aim to make more discourse in the community than ever before by counting down the top 5 worst sniper rifles in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Now for all 14 of you remaining Wonderlands experts out there, please know that this list is not purely based off of power, as I'm sure by now that the most optimal damage strats on Chaos 100 for killing common mobs with any gun in this game probably includes triple dipping into a container of amphetamines. So just be aware that this list is a classy one, a truly special one, as I'll primarily be ranking items off of how cool they are and how high they rank on my Rizmia. And yeah, they also might just suck. So without further ado, let's kick things off with number 5, the Envy. Now, truth be told, I actually think the Envy is one of the better snipers in the game, but unfortunately, due to the nature of a top 5, it had to end up on my list. And while the reason I have for it doesn't particularly make the gun bad, so to speak, it's worth noting for the purpose of this countdown. Now, the special effect of the Envy is that upon a critical hit, it will spawn a poison puddle at the feet of enemies, and follow them as they walk. If it then ricochets and hits another enemy nearby, it will spawn a dark magic pool instead at the target's feet, which will then do the same. Now, this effect, believe it or not, actually deals a ton of damage. I found it to be doing pretty good for me in my testing, and was surprised that it wasn't just outright terrible. The issues with the Envy, however, also stem from this effect. If your targets just so happen to be flying enemies, you're kinda screwed if you think for 1 second that you'll be dropping puddles on them. Now, this isn't immediately what makes the gun bad, but for me it's all the warrant needed for it to be here at the number 5 spot when you also take into account that this gun is apparently broken with the corrupted plate mail armor, and it just straight doesn't work with it. Although I was unable to confirm that, so take that one with a grain of salt. However, if you do want an Envy, you can get it from killing King Karab Halsunder in the Drowned Abyss. I actually think it's worth your time. Now, diving deep into number 4, we have none other than one of the most boring and lifeless guns I've ever used in a game before. It's the Tootherator. Man, this gun just sucks. Now, the Tootherator isn't entirely bad. After all, it's a multi-pellet weapon, which can prove useful for certain builds in very specific cases. However, all of this goes out the window when you remember that the gun is just not very good. I guess you could potentially make the gun better with the right build, but in my testing, this gun just wasn't anything worth saving to begin with. And to be honest, that's kinda just how I feel about this gun. It's just another gimmick weapon which isn't very good or interesting in the slightest. I'd love to talk more about the gun, but I really just can't bring myself to. So, if you somehow still want to get your hands on it, you can get it from beating the Cash for Teeth quest in the Weep While Dankness. Now next up, coming in at number 3, we've got the Iron Sides. This gun is fine, but that's like all it is, and I'm probably being too kind to it there. I don't even think it really is fine. It's a weapon which just does what any Jacob sniper really does, but it also makes a kidney stone, so it's like pretty okay, but pretty boring and pretty lackluster. Admittedly, I feel bad for ranking it here since it's a blue, and by that logic it would make sense that it's just pretty okay in terms of how special it really is, but like, come on! Snipers in this game just have never really interested me at all, and when making this list I thought to myself, why? Why are they all like this? Now, if I wasn't already clear on what this gun did, it's a Jacob sniper, and when you score a critical hit, it summons a metal ball which will then bounce, maybe hitting the enemy before it then disappears. And yet, the problem with this is that it's just not very good. The ball barely hits an enemy if at all, and when it does minute damage. I mean, it really is just bad. And maybe it should be at the number 2 spot, but I think it could be interchangeable. Like at number 3, number 2, it doesn't really matter. This gun is just not very good at all. But if you do want to get one, it drops from the Walk the Stalk quest, and you can also then get it from a vendor afterwards. And coming in at number 2, it's none other than the Carouser. You know, I've always appreciated the idea of those turn an enemy on your side gimmick items, but my problem with them was always that in the process, the sole idea of the gun itself is lost in transmission. For those unaware, the carouser shoots a love heart at enemies, which makes them your ally for 6 seconds. Now, this is a pretty neat idea on paper, but just like companions, it often falls short when you even remotely consider building into it, because literally anything is more convenient to the player at that point. Just like building into Flak's Purple Tree, why would I ever want to rely on an AI to do the work for me in a fight? This isn't ChatGPT, and I'm literally a Vault Hunter. I can kill alien creatures with a gun that shoots cheeseburgers, so why would I ever want to all of a sudden retire and now use a gun that turns enemies on their allies to do the work for me instead? It's just not very practical. You know, the more I talk about this gun, the more I hate it. And maybe in a week I'll release the director's cut of this countdown where the Crouser's ranked at number 1 on this list. But I don't know, I mean, I guess it has some niche interactions with certain pixie builds, maybe. I really don't know. I just don't like this gun, and I'm really tired of talking about gimmick weapons because they just don't need to exist. Even better though, if you want to get your hands on this gun, you can find it by killing Chaos Chamber mini-bosses. And now, coming in at the number 1 spot, the Antique Great Bow. What a boatload of rat ass. This gun is an insult. A borderline insult to guns everywhere. It is a steaming pile of trash which is purely in existence only to make another gimmick in an already gimmick-filled game. For the effect of this genius gun, which only adds value to the sniper rifle weapon class, the Antique Great Bow starts out dealing quite decent damage. But there is a problem with this. The moment you shoot the gun, it loses 90% of its damage and often removes the enchant off of the gun, becoming unenchantable. It is now used, which is how my asshole felt after dying with this thing consistently. Now, I am fully aware that you can use and abuse this gun by keeping 20 brand new Great Bows on you with courtesy of the save editor to hit nutty damage back to back, but that to me does not simply justify its existence. The gun is a paperweight, and that's all it's ever going to be to me, because the Antique Great Bow has to be one of the worst snipers I have ever seen in the Lands franchise. So if you like the Great Bow, please consider seeking medical help. But regardless, if you do want one, you can get it from Thorn Shadow, who is apparently an overworld boss, so yeah. Good luck. Alright guys, thanks for watching this wacky Let's Play video, and let me know what your top 5 worst sniper rifles are in this game. Thank you all for watching, and have a nice day.